Hello everyone. I'd like to show you how to access the remote lab system. Basically, this system allows you to sit at home or maybe in a hotel somewhere and log into one of the computers that IT runs on campus. So it's as if you're sitting perhaps in the library or in one of our computer rooms and working on one of those computers. It's an amazing system. It provides access to all of the software that UW has purchased for students, including SPSS, which is the one that we're most interested in for this course. And it allows you to take part in that without needing to pay for it. The only downside is sometimes it's just a little bit slower, and we may experience a little bit of that today. We'll see how it goes. But let's start. Before I even get into the remote lab system, on my own computer, right here on the desktop, I have sent myself this message. I basically sent myself an email message with the Jiminy Cricket data set attached. And I'll show you in a minute why I did that. So here's my message. I'm sending myself best wishes because SPSS doesn't always work out for me the way I like. It usually does. Don't worry. Okay, so now let's get into the remote lab system. And we come right here to the A to Z directory. Pretty easy to find, and the remote lab is under R for remote. Okay, so here's the remote lab system, and I am going to um, engage with the student connection to the remote lab. So click that button and I'll just go ahead and click Remote Lab Pool A. Occasionally during finals week, maybe midterms, the remote labs actually fill up. There are a limited number of slots, and so if you can't get into A, then try Lab Pool B. They both offer SPSS. There are just a few functions that are only offered in one and not the other. Maybe the College of Business uses or some other colleges. If you can't get into either one, it means that so many students are using their remote lab away from campus that all the slots are filled and you'll have to come back later. Maybe try again in an hour. It can be a little bit unnerving. My best advice for you is don't save things like this for the last minute because occasionally that remote lab does fill up and you aren't given access until someone logs out. Okay, here I am. I'm logged into the remote lab. Now notice down here is my Windows icon for the remote lab. And if I come even further down, further left, this is the Windows icon for my own computer. These two don't really talk to each other. If I were to save something, if I wanted to save something on this remote lab to my thumb drive, which is plugged into my computer, it wouldn't happen. My remote lab doesn't realize that it's on my computer, it's a part of my computer. And that is why I sent myself the email. So the first thing I do is I come in here, I open up my email, and fortunately, you'll see once I have it open. It always takes a minute. So go get yourself a nice drink and come right back. But once I open up my email, oh good, it opened pretty quickly today. Here is my data set. Now I should be able to save this. I'll just click on save, and I'm going to save it right to my desktop. Okay, I want to have it there and have it available. Now that this data set is saved to my desktop, the next time I come into the remote lab, if I'm going to continue to work with Jiminy Cricket, for example, I won't have to save it again. It will always be there every time I open the remote lab. I'm not going to close my email because when I'm done working, I want to send things back to myself the other way. So now I can open Jiminy Cricket this way, or I can come into this Windows menu again. SPSS, I need to scroll down here, is right here under IBM. You see IBM SPSS statistics, and we're currently working with version 24. Version 25 will be uploaded by the end of this semester for us. But instead of opening it from here, which I could do, I think I'll just double click on my spreadsheet itself, and that way it'll open up in my remote lab, give me the information that I need. You can work on the remote lab for hours if you like. There's no time limitation. Um, but when you are finished, it's best to log out. If you don't log out of the remote lab, if you forget to, and you come up to campus the next day, campus will think that you're still logged in to some computer somewhere on campus, and you might get some warning messages. You might even be blocked from logging in again. Typically what happens though is if you forget to log out sometime, probably in the early hours of the morning, um, everyone who hasn't had any activity in the remote lab for an hour or two is automatically logged out. Okay, so my spreadsheet opened up, and if you remember, we've got a graphs assignment here. And so let's just say I'm doing my graphs assignment. This will just be for demonstration, okay? So I want to make, whoops, that was a bar chart. I'm going to make a histogram of level of success. Ta-da! Okay, I've got it. I like it. Great. This is what I want. I want this in my paper. I'm going to copy it, okay? Now, here's where I can't just save it. I mean, I can save it to my remote desktop, but then in order to work with it again, I've got to access the remote desktop. How much easier if I just, whoops, save it in a Word document. This is kind of my general rule. Okay, so I copied it, I've pasted it. I'm going to call this histogram. A very creative name. And I'm just going to put it right here on my desktop so it's easy for me to see the next time I get into. Okay, there's my histogram. Ta-da! I've saved it. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. I don't really need this anymore. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close out SPSS. I've done what I needed to do. I'm not going to save it because it's already here. Okay, let's close out of SPSS. Before I get out of the remote lab system, I'm going to send myself an email. Okay, so I'm just going to reply to myself. And this time I'm going to attach the histogram that I just printed. Send. And now, hooray, when I get back onto my computer, when I continue to do the work, maybe I'm writing a paper, whatever it is I'm doing, this histogram right here will show up in my email. So now I can close my email here. I have the okay, I'm going to close my email, and the way I'm going to leave the remote lab is I'm going to sign out. So right here, I sign out, and this way I won't have any problems logging in later. I've been officially signed out. That also means someone else who needs to use the remote lab can get in. I've been disconnected. I can go home. I can close out these pages, and I'm done. And that's the remote lab at UW. It's pretty dang reliable considering what it is, but just in case, start your work early, give yourself some breathing room, and hopefully it'll just give you an extra easy way to access SPSS. Thanks for watching.